gaslighting. Men and women and how they cannot share empathetically. Stop using boundaries, guys. I'm Cass.
And I'm Kathryn. You tell them how you feel, you tell them the situation, and you tell them what they need, expressing positive need.
Today, the episode is connection. We're not so different.
We're Morrow Marriage.
Let's flip divorce statistics with the new marriage.
Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. And today, episode 200, gaslighting 101.
Episode 200.
Episode 200, guys.
Congratulations, honey.
Season 2 was October 13th, our anniversary of the day we met. But we didn't have an episode.
14th, I think.
14th.
Or maybe it was the 15th.
No, I'm pretty sure it's the 13th, same as our wedding anniversary.
I'd have to look.
We can look later.
Okay.
Gaslighting 101. We want to do this episode, and I thought super powerful to do this on episode 200 because that's just celebratory. Most of you guys are taking this shit too serious. Oh, actually, I want to start this differently. I want to go like this. Okay, if you don't know, I'm a managing self-aware severe narcissist. Okay, there's a bunch of levels to narcissism. It's on the DSM. Google it. Don't have time today. But here's the thing. I still have to manage it. And I'm not perfect, right? I make
You're
mistakes.
very good, though. Everybody makes mistakes, though.
But there's like a way my brain moves, high and low, okay? Used to be medicated, not anymore. It's not that you can medicate narcissism, but there's lots of other...
But when you're a narcissist, there's other things that
right.
You're going to have other comorbidities that probably can be medicated.
That's right. Okay. Now, I want you to understand, in case you don't know, you can go back and find it. I think in March or April, I had what Kathryn coined a narc out, okay?
Narcissistic relapse.
Narcissistic relapse. Now, the reason why I tell you all this is just hopefully to inspire you. Okay, number one, all right? Yes, we have a perfect life, perfect marriage. We were just talking about it yesterday, how we're so happy with the direction and everything, okay? But there are imperfections, there are flaws. And Kathryn said something to me beautiful about a week ago on a date. And it was like, I'm not in love with the narcissism. I'm in love with you. When I had that narc out, Kathryn immediately went and took 2 courses on narcissism, like immediately bought them. Why?
I needed to learn more. I needed to be able to understand what was going on in that head of yours.
And I tell men this when they struggle with a lot of what would be, say, my story, okay? And they're like, wow, they're blown away. Why? Because the more you understand and the more you can create value by like eliminating the things that devalue, obviously narcissism is a good one to do that with, then the more you can connect with your partner and the more that you'll work together, okay? Now, in all that, I mean, you've learned lots. You've got a lot of education. And people are just throwing around words like gaslighting, right? You guys are throwing around narcissism. Most of you don't even realize when you're fighting with your partner, you actually sound like the narcissist. You're gaslighting more than you think. But, you know, we had a fun date one recently, the Mimosa Day. And we were just looking up examples, what people's ideas of examples were of gaslighting. Remember that?
I do, but I don't remember what the examples were.
You guys, it's pretty funny. Like some of the things that we would consider gaslighting, I don't even remember the specific ones either because it was a lot. But it's funny how many people, like, you call it gaslighting, but at the same time, they're like, there's normal things that you would say.
Oh, yes. Well, So when we saw the list, there was this list of things that this is gaslighting. And I'm like, that could be gaslighting. It's a stretch, but you could say that to someone and have it not be gaslighting. So I think that what the point you're trying to make is that gaslighting is a word that's thrown around right now where people will use it and not actually know what it means.
Yeah.
Just because someone says something that you don't like doesn't mean they're gaslighting you.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it right there. Just because you don't agree with it or it's hard for you to hear or whatever, you just automatically, oh, you're gaslighting me.
Yeah. Like if someone's lying to you, it doesn't necessarily mean they're gaslighting you. They could be, but gaslighting is very manipulative and it's often purposeful.
Yeah.
And even if it's not purposeful, there's a I can't even say that word today, manipulative element to it.
I think that's really important to understand because when you understand when you're in an upset place, okay, you're fighting, you're angry, sad, whatever, you aren't acting at all the way that you should. Maybe you're shutting down. Why is that better? But then you hear your partner say something and automatically they're gaslighting you. And I just think that that's the dumbest shit on the planet.
It's one of those words that people throw around, they don't know how to use.
I'm going to tell you something right now, because this is really important. If you can understand that people just throw it around, you probably throw that word around and use the statement that Kathryn just said, okay? That you think it's gaslighting because you don't agree with or like it. Okay. So if that's the case, then understand a lot of the other myths surrounding narcissism. Okay. A lot of the times we don't even know what the fuck we're saying because we're in our own reality. You know, nobody's talking about this, but what did you figure out? You figured out that number one, I was capable of love if I was capable of love bombs, right? She figured out that I just had to learn how to love consistently. Break that down. I just had to learn how to love because I wasn't taught. In fact, I was shown how to treat people poorly, very poorly, okay? Especially in a relationship, okay? So it's not like I was trying to manipulate her. It seems manipulative.
It's hard today.
Yeah. It seems manipulative. Let me use that the sticky note example, right? How could you mean all of the 1,000 sticky notes all over the house? How could you mean all of these reasons you love me? Because yesterday you told me all the reasons you hate me. Okay? It seems like I'm trying to manipulate her. Well, nobody misses those days.
No, he wasn't trying to manipulate me. He was just that messed up in his brain where his brain was going all those different directions. He wasn't trying to trick me into me thinking that he loved me when he really didn't. You know, gaslighting comes from, I can't remember the story. It's a book or a movie where the man purposefully, I don't know if he takes gas out of the lamp or if he dims the lamp.
No, he's taking
slowly.
Gas. Yeah, he's dimming the lamp
slowly every day.
Yeah.
The whatever happens with the gas in the lamp gets dimmer every day. And when the woman starts to notice, because it's happening slowly, starts to notice that it's getting dimmer, he says, "No, it's not getting dimmer. I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
That's
you're crazy.
Yes, you must be crazy. Like, you need help. This is where gaslighting comes from. So if you think about that, this is intentional, it's purposeful. Crazy making is another one of the things that's connected to gaslighting, almost synonymous with gaslighting, but it's not something that people throw around. Crazy making. You're making someone feel crazy. You're doing something purposefully and then saying that you didn't. So if you take, like, this is extreme, but if you were to take my car key and hide it, and then I can't find it, you say, "Oh, you must have lost it. You're really forgetful these days."
So pay attention to what she's describing here and go back to the actual example where it came from. Okay. Because I mean, I'm just thinking about a client right now. You know, she's got BPD and narcissism, maybe both. I'm like, maybe she's just angry. And he's like, "No, look here, she's gaslighting me again." And it's like a message that's just saying you're not capable of raising the kids right. That's not gaslighting. He probably needs to look at some truth. Go back to the accountability episode where he's like, how much time is he spending with the kids? What is he doing for choices with the kids? I think he's a great dad, but that doesn't mean she agrees. Just because you don't agree doesn't make it gaslighting.
So same client. One of the first calls I had with him, he said that she would say things like, "You never do XYZ and you always do whatever." So those are called absolutes. If someone's using an absolute, first of all, it's not gaslighting. If I say, "You never help me with the laundry," I'm not gaslighting you. I probably feel like you don't help with the laundry. But when you use an absolute, you invoke a sense of defensiveness where the moment I say "you never help with the laundry," you think of the one time you did laundry 5 years ago. I mean, you do laundry sometimes, but the example, you invoke defensiveness where now they're not even hearing what you're trying to express. All they want to do is to defend the one time that they did. That's using absolutes. And when someone uses an absolute, if I were to say to you, "You never help with the laundry," that's coming from a place of overwhelm and frustration. I don't actually mean that you never help with the laundry. I just don't know how to communicate. And it's coming across like you never do. When we know that that's not true, when you use an absolute, it's very rarely true. So gaslighting and using absolutes, it's not different. But this is the problem. He thought it was gaslighting because the whole world is throwing around gaslighting with anything that they don't like. You get offended. "Oh, I feel like you're gaslighting me." It's just
it's actually out of control, you know. And this is why I'm so concerned about this, because you tell a narcissist they can't change. You tell people they can't change whatever it is, the situation that they're in, and you throw things at them like facts you don't even understand. Do me a favor, go Google his story and remember it, memorize it, so you understand what gaslighting looks like. Because you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. But based off all the people that are wrong right now, I'm going to say you look like the narcissist, because if you're going to judge everybody in your life, your partner, for these understanding of what narcissism is and the different components of it, then I can definitely say when you write a comment blaming your spouse and you say they never do this, and you're using absolutes, by the way, and I'm just going to say, fine, you be the narcissist, because that's what the world defines as narcissism now. But until you understand it, like maybe from an episode like this, or want to go learn courses, those aren't Kathryn's only courses on it, by the way. But unless you want to learn more, then stop throwing the fucking word around. Just stop, because you're creating bad people. You are. You're telling them they can't change. You're making them feel crazy. There are so many things that you could think about. You know, one of the examples we would have heard before, I think, was like moving a couch or silverware or something like that.
Extreme gaslighting and crazy making would be if I walked into this room and, you know, everything was switched around and I was like, wow, everything's opposite. And Cass said to me, no, it's always been like this.
Yeah, I recently switched those pictures. Okay. So if she was like, oh, USA is down on the bottom now. And I was like, no.
No, I didn't switch it. They've always been like that.
Always like that. Yeah.
So then I start to question, was it? Because I trust my husband and I assume that he's telling me the truth when really he's trying to make me question my own perception, my own reality.
Okay, now
that's purposeful, extreme gaslighting and crazy making.
Right. And now let's just get super real for a second. I mean, moving furniture around, silverware, hiding someone's phone, you know, these would be move the picture thing. Okay. There's all of that. Okay. But let's say, you know, you're doing it more subtly. Okay. Let's say it's something like, no, babe, I told you about this meeting that I have. Okay. What you guys have to understand is this. Most people aren't smart enough, no offense, to come up with some conjured scheme to manipulate you. I don't care who you're talking to. It's so elaborate to be able to be the actual true narcissist if you listen to anybody, who's trying to change your perception and reality.
Well, and I think that's more sociopath.
Yes.
I think a sociopath is a true gaslighter. Narcissists, I think that there could be some gaslighting going on, but I think that it's because they're in a different reality. A sociopath is purposefully manipulative, intentionally, and they're actually dangerous. Narcissists can be sociopathic. You can have a sociopathic narcissist, and they're more dangerous than a regular narcissist. But when someone is in their own reality and they say something and it came across the wrong way because they're just being a jerk, and you take it the wrong way, it doesn't mean that they're gaslighting you.
No, so this crazy making thing, you got to think about how elaborate this would have to be. It couldn't just be the picture. Okay, that'd be the first one. Then, you know, maybe I start taking her phone and I leave it in the fridge. Okay, I think you used an idea of me taking your keys or something. Like, you know, oh no, baby, honestly, I told you about the date. Let's go. We got to get going. You know, I just keep making her think she's forgetful and forgetful and forgetful. People don't have the brain capacity and the patience for this.
And most people aren't doing this.
No, you
true gaslighting.
Get real.
True gaslighting is not happening very often. There are minor incidents of gaslighting. So if I said something really hurtful, so passive aggression can be a form of gaslighting, because if I say something passive aggressive to you and then you call me out and I say, well, no, that's not what I meant, and it is what I meant, that's gaslighting. I'm trying to convince him that I wasn't trying to be mean, when passive aggression, that is what you're doing. You're being mean.
Passively mean. Yeah, that's the whole point of the word. I love this example though too, because I actually wanted to talk about it as well. That is one of the things that we can call gaslighting. But come on, people, you all say things you don't mean in the time that you're upset, that you're hurting, that you're angry, that you're taking something personal, that you're emotional.
And it doesn't mean you're gaslighting.
No, people.
No.
Come on. And we get this all the time. We just can't wrap our head around how you could dumb down something so spectacular. And I don't mean spectacular in a good way, but that's
elaborate.
That's elaborate. Like,
stop giving gaslighting as little credit. It deserves a lot of credit. If someone is gaslighting you, they are capable of a lot. So stop giving your partner that much credit when you're saying that they're gaslighting you. Oh, well, they're a brilliant and, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? They're a savant of a sociopath. Like they're that brilliant that they can concoct this elaborate scheme, like Cass said.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of something that could be considered gaslighting, and sometimes there's unintentional gaslighting. So we have a couple that we work with right now, and the man said something to the wife last night and said, I really don't want to work on things with a woman that has a protective order on me. That is gaslighting, but I don't think he meant it as gaslighting. So she could say, yeah, you're right. Like, wow, I'm not really showing up as the woman I need to be. Of course he wouldn't want to be with me if I have a protective order on
Especially
him.
if that sort of stuff came out of his mouth after. He's pushing the gaslight.
Right.
He's making it happen. Okay?
And so she said, wait now, the reason I have a protective order is because of your actions that inspired fear for me and my children. So she corrected it. So she corrected it in the moment, and he was able to say, okay, I'm sorry that triggered you. That's not what I meant. Repair attempt. So he wasn't purposefully trying to manipulate the situation, but in a moment of desperation and frustration, he thought, well, you know what, if you're going to have a protective order on me, then screw you. That's not gaslighting. But if you look at it,
I don't even think that's what he meant. I think what he meant is it just feels hard to actually move forward if there's an order. It feels scary to not be able to see you still. I still really want to just give you a hug, and I can't even do that. There are so many other things. Sure, we could say he meant to say.
Right.
We don't actually even know. I mean, I haven't followed up yet. I have to still see, but have you guys followed up?
Yes.
Yeah.
I followed up with him. He was on my call today.
Oh, okay, great.
So we talked about it just a little bit. But that sort of example that I just gave would be, you used to say things like, well, I wouldn't yell at you if you would do XYZ.
Right.
That is gaslighting behavior. I'm only yelling at you because you're not giving me what I need. Okay, now you're blaming me for you yelling at me. That's gaslighting.
Right.
But it's not extreme manipulative gaslighting. It's blame shifting.
Yeah. You guys have to understand, almost all of you are just milking this for whatever you want because you are in dictum mode and need to take that accountability.
You want a reason. You're looking for a reason. So you want to tell everybody that your partner's gaslighting you when he or she probably is not.
Yeah, but actually, in actuality, that's how you can see what I'm talking about, where it looks like you're more of the narcissist than based off your definition, right? Well, my partner always does this, using an absolute again, and you just, man alive, like, maybe you just didn't understand what the guy was saying or the girl was saying. Maybe you need to take some responsibility for yourself and learn to ask better clarifying questions. That's how you learned reality checks are what I needed, because my reality, my perception was skewed. Okay. And she would ask me questions that I just couldn't deny. The best story, best example I can give you right now, we were fighting. She wanted to cross the street. And I was like, I think I felt like a dumb man because now we could face oncoming traffic in a street with no lights.
It was dark out. I had one of our little dogs in a little dog backpack, and I wanted to walk on the safe side of the street facing oncoming traffic because there were no lights. And so I said, can we please cross the street? And I started to explain that it was safer, but he felt inferior when I started to explain why I wanted to be on the other side of the street. And he started yelling at me. So we're walking down the street. He's yelling for quite a while. I had to bring him back to reality. He was saying that I yelled at him and lectured him for 10 minutes on why I needed to cross the street. And I said, so
I was like, why can't you just keep it simple? Why can't you just tell me that? Because I had my own reality.
And he was going on and on like a lunatic. And so finally I said, okay, so where were we when I said I wanted to cross the street? And he said, well, we were on the other side of the street. And I said, and where were we when I stopped lecturing you and yelling at you? And you thought about it for a second and you said, well, we weren't even across the other side of the street yet. And I said, okay, so how long did it take us to cross the street? And you're like, I don't know, 20 seconds. And I said, okay, so how long could I have been lecturing you? And you were like, oh my gosh, do I do this a lot? And I said, yes, honey, you do. So you ended up coming to your own conclusion that, oh, wow, you must not have been lecturing me because you didn't speak for more than 10 seconds. And I've been lecturing you for 10 minutes on the lecture that you just didn't give me.
Okay, guys, did you catch this? Now, pay attention. Pay attention. This is so important for your journey here today. Okay. Oh, I was gaslighting her, right? I was gaslighting her. Oh my gosh. You've been lecturing me for 10 minutes. No, I wasn't crazy making. I wasn't trying to make her feel like crazy. I was in my own reality. And remember what I said, that there's no form of manipulation there. None. But you called it gaslighting already. Okay. And we already learned that it's forced manipulation, coercion, an elaborate plan. Okay. No. Sometimes you just don't know because your perception is skewed.
Well, use the right word.
Use the right word. That's all we're saying.
Technically, that would be gaslighting if he was doing it intentionally. Call it what it is. He was a raging narcissist. Get it right, you guys.
Yeah.
If your husband is a narcissist and he's in his own reality, then say so. Stop calling him a gaslighter, because if you call him a gaslighter, he's not going to be able to fix it. If you call him a narcissist, he's not going to take that well. You have to make sure you have to make sure that you presented at the right moment. I told him he was a narcissist when things got safer. I helped him out of his narcissism before I said, so I think you're a narcissist.
Reality checks, guys. There's so much that we can teach you, but today we're going to let this one go.
But the moral of the story is use the right word. Don't throw away narcissism away. Don't throw around. Yeah, throw it away. Don't throw around narcissism, gaslighting, sociopath. Don't throw it around. Make sure
I don't care what.
Make sure you're using the correct term, because if you want them to learn and grow, he's never going to admit to gaslighting. Because if you look at it on paper, yes, it's gaslighting, but gaslighting is intentional. Is he intentionally gaslighting me? No, he's in his own freaking reality, so he has no idea that he's wrong.
And it's just because you don't know what you don't know.
That's right,
guys. All right.
So call it the right thing so you can have growth and strength and fix it.
That's right. See you next time.
Bye.